Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About. This is Amin.
And this is Alex.
And today, this is the Galaxy Note launch week. So there was like a huge build up to the next big thing that Samsung is launching. And this week they've revealed that it is the Galaxy Note 20, the latest iteration of the very iconic Note range. It's still unique in the smartphone area, if you ask me. It's the only phone that has a stylus. And it kind of started the whole large screen format way back when in 2008, I think. I can't remember. So in this episode, we're going to talk about the Note 20. Is it a significant update over the Note 10? What are the specs and variants available in Malaysia, the prices, and whether you should get one or not. So I have here with me, of course, Alex. He's been writing a lot of stories about the Galaxy Note 20 along with the team. Give us a breakdown on the devices that's available in Malaysia.
Okay, the Note 20. So similar to last year, they launched two sizes. So there's a Note 20, and the bigger model is not called a Note 20 Plus. It's called the Note 20 Ultra. For the Note 20, interestingly, there's two variants. There's the LTE version, which is 4G, and there's a 5G version. And of course, the top of the line Note 20 Ultra is 5G only, and across the board all come with 256 gigs of storage. Yeah. So going to the actual specs, similar to the Galaxy Note 20, it runs on the Exynos 990 processor, which is their latest flagship for the moment in Malaysian market. But of course, in other markets like the US, in South Korea, they are getting the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 Plus, which is the latest from Qualcomm, which also supports 5G. So starting with the Note 20 Ultra, you get this immersive 6.9-inch display, which is like a dynamic AMOLED display. So you get Quad HD Plus resolution, 120Hz refresh rate, which is super smooth. But unfortunately, similar to the S20, you only get 120Hz if you're running at Full HD resolution.
Yeah. That means you can't turn it on or off.
You have to pick either you want high resolution that runs at 60Hz. If you want the super fluid display, the 120Hz, that's only available in Full HD.
So if you turn it to Full HD, it will be 120 megahertz.
Yeah, but this time the settings is a bit different because on the previous S20 series, you get to choose like, okay, I want to use 120Hz or I want 60Hz. But now the option is auto or 60Hz. Yeah, okay. So that's the difference there. Like I said, you also get Exynos 990, 12 gigs of LPDDR5 RAM, the fastest you can get right now, and it comes with 256 gigs of UFS 3.1 storage, 256 gigs. So finally, double of what you get on S20, because S20, as you know, in Malaysia, we only get 128 gigs.
Okay, so that's the whole range lah.
So that's the top of the range. And of course, you have a new camera setup, which is like more like a carryover from the S20. So you get a 108 megapixel main camera, a 12 megapixel a periscope camera. They uses like similar to the S20 Ultra, is a periscope system that can do space zoom up to 50 times. So not quite the same as the S20 Ultra, which can do 100 times. Is 50 times, which is still pretty impressive. And also the third camera is the ultra wide angle camera, 12 megapixel. And there's no TOF camera this time around. So to assist with the focusing, it gets a laser autofocus module.
All right, so we talked about the specifications of the device. So every time when there's a Note launch, I get like super excited because I'm a Note user. My wife's a Note user. We're big on the Note because of the screen and the flexibility of having a stylus. And the Note, although has always been quite similar to the S series, has always been able to, I don't know, differentiate itself in terms of specification and price. But when it comes to the current Note, the Note 20 that's just been launched, we've discussed with the team, and the reaction that we're getting is kind of like a mixed bag. Some people, okay, so the bigger battery is much welcome, but I'm disappointed that none of the Note currently available supports fast charging higher than 25 watt. When other competitors in the flagship range, in Android is doing, I don't know, 45, 30,
60 watts, 65
60,
watts,
much higher charging capability. And then there's the camera department. So the S20 Ultra came with a 100x space zoom, they call it. So with the Note, even at the highest variant, you get only
50
times. Now, I'm not a stickler for specs. It's all about the experience, but it really kind of makes it quite difficult for me to choose between the S20 and the Note 20. So maybe then you'll come back and tell me, okay, it's not relevant. People who want to buy the S20, they'll buy the S20. People who need a stylus, they'll buy the Note 20. But here's the thing. If you compare the Note 20 and the Note 10, I don't think there's much of a difference either. I mean, other than the specs, the experience is roughly similar. A lot of the S Pen features are software. So I'm not sure. Where do you stand? I mean,
for me, okay, they did make some upgrades. Okay, going back to the initial stage of the Unpack event. So before the launch, the head of the Samsung Mobile's division, he said that we're going to provide meaningful innovation. So
yeah,
that
he put out like a blog post, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about TM Roh, right?
TM Roh, yeah.
So he was talking about introducing, Samsung is all about meaningful innovations.
Yeah, correct.
And to you, that's a signal that it's nothing.
It's a signal that, it looks like Samsung's going to play it safe. So it's like, I don't expect anything to be like super mind-blowing, anything that's radical. And I think that came true when the phone was revealed, because if you look at it, right, it looks kind of same as the Note 10. Even the design itself, it looks identical. The only difference is if you look at the back, you can see the huge camera bump to signify that, yeah, this has a better camera. But if you look into the actual experience side of things, well, they make some upgrades. Okay, the S Pen itself, physically, it looks the same, unchanged. But they boast better response time, 9 milliseconds. They say it's more realistic this time. It feels more realistic, like writing pen on paper. But to me, the Note series has always been great in terms of stylus. I don't see the difference. We have one unit here. We tried it. It still feels the same. I mean, I have no complaints about the responsiveness. But they do upgrade a couple of features, like the air gesture features. Now you can do like certain gestures to like go back to
you can scroll front and back, and a few other things.
Which I think, like you said, right, is software based. I'm pretty sure that Samsung will push an update and it will be available on the Note 10.
Yeah, and we've been using I've been using the Note 10. My wife's been using the Note 10. Other than just using the stylus as it is, the air gesture thing is really not something that we use, and it kind of like goes against what TM Roh said about meaningful innovations. I'm not sure whether having the magic wand style gestures is anything meaningful. It's just like when they introduced the 3D camera thing.
Oh, the TO camera.
Was it on the Note? Or
it's on the Note 10. Yeah, it released the Note 10, yes.
So they released a 3D camera thing feature because they were using the TOF sensor.
Yeah, which is not available anymore.
Yeah, and that wasn't really meaningful for me. I guess the point I want to make in this episode is that, okay, Samsung launched the Note 20 in Malaysia. The prices, we haven't talked about it.
Yep.
I think the prices are like really expensive. I'm just disappointed because I wanted to be like super excited about the Galaxy Note, especially now because it's a really special time. Not special, okay, it's a really interesting time for a lot of phone manufacturers, and Samsung has been continuing their momentum. They had a strong launch early this year when they launched the S20, and they were the first out of the gate for the year 2020. They managed to actually have an actual physical event just before the COVID-19 pandemic hit. And then after that, it was like a number of launches from all the other smaller brands, and then now it's the Note 20, which is like another significant launch for Samsung. And I was expecting for them to like throw everything into this launch.
Yep.
To like really win customers. But then again, as I'm thinking about it, maybe they are also kind of like hedging their bets because, okay, since it's a slow year, why not we make it a slow launch?
Or maybe a sandbag it. Let's reserve some of the good stuff for the next one. I'm not too sure. It seems like it.
I mean, okay, but
they're trying to be safe.
Okay, it doesn't make sense because they could very easily just take everything that's in the S20 and just transfer it into the Note 20.
And make it better. But in fact, some of the things they kind of like downgrade. Like for example, the battery, right? So the S20 Ultra came with a 5000 mAh battery. This came with a 4500. Like, why the smaller battery? But I understand, maybe they need to leave space for the S Pen maybe, but
Okay, the weird
Yeah.
thing is that the S20 does not have a high refresh rate, right?
It has as well. And the best part, okay, speaking about the refresh rate, right? The S20, for example, they came in 3 sizes. Okay, you got the normal S20 with the S20 Ultra. You also, S20, S20 Plus, and S20 Ultra. Regardless which model you go for, you get 120 Hz across the range. You get Quad HD resolution across the range, which is normal for a flagship. But this time, the Note 20 and Note 20 Ultra is very different. First of all, the Note 20, the base model, right? You don't get a curved screen, you get a flat screen, which is good news for some people, because I understand some people say that flat screen is better because you can
Easier to apply the screen protector.
yeah, tempered glass.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's much easier to apply.
Yeah.
And the second part is that if you're using S Pen, sometimes you want to write all the way into the edge, so you have full real estate to do that. But the problem with the Note 20, the standard model, is that it's using Full HD plus resolution, not Quad HD. And it's also a 60 Hz display.
Okay, I'm okay with 60 Hz, but Full HD on a consider flagship device is...
Yeah, and the screen is not small, it's huge, it's 6.7 inch. Full HD on that, so the PPI is like less than 400, I think it's 380 like that. And if you look
a
at
lot
it,
of mid-tier brands are providing much better display.
yeah, exactly. To make matters worse, right, it's not called Dynamic AMOLED, it's called Super AMOLED, which sounds like the same screen you get on the cheaper Galaxy A. And at first we thought maybe this is not the right specs, maybe this is for the Note 20 Lite.
Okay.
But turns out this is the Note 20, and Note 20 is not cheap. So the Note 20, the price is 3,899 ringgit for the LTE version.
Okay.
3,899. And if you think the screen is disappointing, wait until you see the back. Because for the Note 20, for the first time for a number of years, the back is made out of plastic.
Okay, it's basically another version of... It's plastic with a special coating that makes it look like glass. I don't know about you guys. Some people might go like, yeah, it doesn't make a difference. I'm just gonna slap on a casing over it. Maybe again, we're nitpicking here, but the thing is, for 3,899 ringgit, I think this is the most expensive phone that uses plastic.
Yes.
Even the iPhone SE at 1,999 for the base model is using glass.
Yeah.
So what is this is the other thing that frustrates me. What is Samsung doing, mixing and matching, making a rojak out of all the specs? Okay, so then the question is, they are saving it for something bigger next year, right?
Okay, then again, Note 20, right? Okay, first of all, it's not a cheap phone. If you're going to pay this price, right, you should give a similar premium experience
across the board.
Yeah, look at the Galaxy Note 10 and Note 10 Plus. Apart from the size, both feels the same. Both feel premium. You have similar screens. Of course, resolution is smaller on the Note 10, but that's okay. It's a smaller 6.3-inch screen. But if you look at the S20, right, if you can offer Quad HD plus resolution across the board, why can't you do the same thing for the Note 20 series? It's like as if Samsung's penalizing you for going for the cheaper version.
For the cheaper version, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, they've introduced the gestures, we talked about that. That's kind of meh. Other meaningful innovations is DeX now is wireless.
Yep.
You don't have to put a dongle, so that makes it convenient, I guess. But like I said, I'm not using it. It was a cool idea when it started, but after you tried it a few times, it's really not quite there yet when it comes to being a full-on computer. So if I'm not using it, I don't think a lot of the normal users are doing anything much with DeX. There's 15 watts wireless charging.
Yep. Pretty much the same, like nothing much has changed on that.
It's quite difficult. Okay, and then you lose out on the camera. The problem I have is they didn't bring the whole camera module across. The S20 had 100 times space zoom. The Note 20 has only 50 times.
Yeah, but I've no issues with that because 50 times, 100 times, not really much of a difference. And besides, if you push all the way to 100 times zoom, you lose out a lot of details anyway.
And is it across the board though? Like the...
Oh no. So the cheaper the cheaper Note 20 is a different setup, similar to the S20 and S20 Plus. You get 12 megapixel main, which is, for this one, it still has dual pixel autofocus. You have a 64 megapixel camera, which is high resolution, but this one is used for telephoto. and a 12 megapixel ultra wide angle lens.
And then all of them are using the laser autofocus thing, right?
Only for the ultra, because on the Note 20 it has dual pixel autofocus, so that's fast enough.
Which is better.
For in terms of focusing.
Yeah.
So that's why the Note 20 Ultra, they need the laser autofocus to address the issue, because it's not the dual pixel autofocus technology.
Yeah, so it feels like they are downgrading a few things.
Yeah.
Apparently, one of the problems is that the old sensor, the sensor on the S20 with the 100 times zoom has a problem with like autofocus.
Yep.
There's like an issue with that. So it's not like a software problem. It's like a physical problem with the sensor.
Something with the implementation and the design.
Yeah. So if you guys are Note S20 users, you are very familiar with this jittery kind of focusing with the S20 Ultra.
Sure.
Samsung launched the Note, right? It's very easy for me to get excited and very easy for me to just tell people, hey, you should upgrade. I don't have a reason to tell people to buy this. What do you think?
Well, okay, looking at the specs, the features and all that, right? Personally, I feel like it's like a downgrade compared to the S20 series. I guess if you want to get the Note 20, maybe it's for those who are using a Note 9 or older device. Because if you look at from the Note 10 to Note 20, like yourself, you say you're using Note 10, you don't feel excited. I share the same sentiments as well. It's not a major leap. They're just trying to be safe. So I guess it's only for those using Note 9 and below. And if you ask me which is the best Note ever, I would still say the Note 9, because when that came out, right, you feel that Samsung is giving you the best of everything. There's no compromises. The big battery, stereo speakers, water resistance, micro SD card, we still give it to you. Headphone jack, we still give it to you. Everything is all in the Note 9. And somehow on the Note 20 Ultra, I feel that they make a couple of compromises, because I expect it to be better than the S20 Ultra. But the smaller battery, that's quite a turn-off. And the fact that the base model, Note 20, is, I would say, is severely downgraded, I feel.
It's not a flagship level.
It's not a flagship level. If anything, I would think that should be called the Note 20 Lite.
And traditionally, right, Note has always had the bigger battery over the S series, right?
Yep.
So this is the first time.
Not really. They did that a couple of times before. That's why there are some Notes that they are not that impressive. But think about this, right? The Note is supposed to target power users, especially wireless DeX, right? Obviously, you're going to use more power. So I still can't understand why they're making the battery smaller compared to the S series.
Yeah, I think there's going to be, and it uses the same Exynos 990 processor.
Yeah, that's another. Yeah.
Not really good in terms of power management.
And to make matters worse, S20, right? People are complaining that, hey, we're getting an Exynos 990, which according to Antutu, the power difference is about 9%. But this time around for the Note 20 Ultra in the US market and South Korea, they're getting 865 plus. So the gap's even bigger. Yeah.
You mentioned that the Note 20 is a downgrade from the S20.
Yep.
The thing is, I cannot definitively put out an argument to say that, because there are some features that are available on the Note only and not available on the S. It depends. So some people, the stylus is a huge deal, but to others it's not. So I'm not sure whether it's a downgrade, but it's not special. Even if they couldn't come up with like special features, they could come up with like a super special color. Okay, granted, this, what's it called, Mystic Bronze is a nice color, and the matte finish, the frosted glass is nice, but it's not special. It's not okay. If you're listening to us on podcasts, imagine like a really sleek frosted champagne glass, and I think that's what this is, the Mystic Bronze, right?
Yep.
The camera bump is a big issue for me. It's one of the thickest I've seen on any phone.
Yeah, but I must say that the way the cameras are laid out, and then the amount of details, like the rings around it, I think it looks better than the S20 Ultra.
I guess it's subjective lah. I think the thing that you mentioned to me is like, Samsung doesn't seem like they are listening to what their customers want. And previously, they've always been doing that. Okay, I'm happy that they've kept the micro SD card slot. But a lot of customers in Malaysia, they're not happy with the Exynos 990 processor. So, and Samsung could easily bring an option to bring the Snapdragon processor.
Yeah, interesting they pointed out because during the Galaxy Unpacked event, right, they introduced like a whole barrage of devices. Okay, before the Unpacked event, they actually announced the 5G version of the Galaxy Z Flip. That is powered by Snapdragon 865 Plus. And then you have the Galaxy Fold 2, which they didn't announce it, but it's likely to be the same 865 Plus. They also announced two tablets, the Tab S7 and S7 Plus, which is also powered by the by the Snapdragon 865 Plus. So it looks like Samsung's buying a bulk, like a truckloads of 865 Plus processors from Qualcomm. So I couldn't understand why they couldn't just make that as standard on the Malaysian and the Asian variants.
I feel, and this is just speculation, I feel like Malaysia is like a money pit for them. It's like we are so into flagship devices, and Malaysia market, the flagship device sales are actually quite strong, and to like increase the margin further, right? It's like they provide with the Exynos processor because they can make more money out of it. I feel that's the reason. Okay, let's go down the list again. New innovations from the Note. You get this new glass from Gorilla Glass?
Yeah, Corning. So
it's what? Victus?
What's the name already? So before they announced this, right, it's called Gorilla Glass 7. And then was it officially called Gorilla Glass 7? Well,
Gorilla Glass 7?
Gorilla Glass 7. Okay, interestingly, if you go to Samsung's website, right, and the fine print, they call it Gorilla Glass 7. But officially, they call it Gorilla Glass Victus.
What's Victus? What does that mean?
I'm not too sure. Is it some Greek word or what, Greek goddess or something? So, okay, this new glass, right, is designed to withstand drops better. So it can survive drops from as high as 2 meters. And on top of that, they also increased their scratch resistance. So it's 2 times more scratch resistant compared to the Gorilla Glass 6. And even after it's scratched, right, it can still retain its strength. So Corning has a video on that to show that after it's scratched, they still do some impact tests and it still can hold up pretty well. But take note that this is only available on the Note 20 Ultra, and only for the front. The back is not Gorilla Glass 7.
But it's still Gorilla Glass.
Yeah, maybe it's 5. Yeah, here's the thing. Why can you offer that on the Note 20? See, that's what I'm saying. Like, why are you penalizing people who buy the smaller version? Why can't you just offer the same flagship materials and experience on both models?
The actions I'm not going to talk about.
I think the action is quite gimmicky because it's not like it can replace the touch completely. I can understand that. Okay, I find the Bluetooth connected S Pen to be useful when taking selfies. For presentation, let's say hook it up to a projector and you just want to change slides. But other than that, it's pretty gimmicky because like you want to bring out the recent tasks, right? What's next? You need to tap on the screen anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. What's so difficult? It's not meaningful. I guess you can notice the theme here, guys. Even in this episode, I don't feel like so excited to talk about.
You know something about the design, right? Compared to the Note 10, one good change they made is that they moved the volume rocker and power button from the left side to the right. So that's like where it should be. But if you look at the bottom right, they switched the S Pen position.
The slot.
Yeah, so usually it's on the right. So you eject from the right side, now it's on the left. And they did the same with the speaker grill. It's like, we need to change more stuff. So how do we make it different? Let's swap things around.
And oh man, this is a new unit, right? So we got this right out of the box, and I'm already feeling like the power button is rattling.
Is it?
Yeah, you can feel it already.
Yeah, slightly. Yeah.
It's not tight.
Yeah, because this time the button's pretty thin. Because the way they design the frame is like super thin, so that you can get to see more of the curved glass. Yeah, it's pretty thin. Okay,
so let's come back to our discussion. Note 20 launched in Malaysia. There are 3 variants available: the Note 20 Ultra, the Note 20 5G, and then the Note 20 LTE.
Yep.
All of them have 256 gigs of storage, the same Exynos 990 processor, and 12 gigs of RAM across the board.
Oh no, RAM is different. So for the Note 20, it's only 8 gigs of RAM.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, SIM card slot, all of them are
nano SIM, but only the Ultra has a micro SD card expansion.
Oh my god.
Yes, similar to the Note 10. Yeah, Note 10 as well. So like Usually the cheaper model, right, you should expect to give expansion.
I mean, yes, now I get it where you're coming from. It feels like they're penalizing people for buying the cheaper version.
Yeah.
The high-end version should have the most storage and no SD cards.
Yeah. If they want to release one version for this, and by the way, this is more than 5,000 ringgit, they should give like 512 gigs, but this is 256.
This is probably the most expensive Note.
Yep.
In ever, 5,199 ringgit. The Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, 250 gigs of storage, 12 gigs of RAM.
And if you want to look back, right, the Note 9, last time when it was launched, I was super excited about it. They released two versions. The 128 gig version was like going for 3,699, and then they have the 512 gig version, half a terabyte. That costs 4,599. It's much cheaper than this.
Then we have the 5G and LTE. Is it the same? The
rest of the specs are the same. The only difference is the radio band. So here's the thing: the 4G version costs 3,899, and the 5G version with the same amount of storage and RAM is 4,299. So you're paying like $400 more just for the radio bands, which you probably won't be able to use for the next 2 years.
Why is there even a variant? There's something fundamentally wrong with the product decision making in Samsung Malaysia. I feel that it's not cohesive. When Apple launched their products in Malaysia, I think we talked about in the previous LTA that I like it because the distinction between the iPhone 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max was very fluid in a way, cohesive in a way that I know what I want and it's very easy for me to choose. So if I want to go for the ultimate, is the
Pro Max.
11 Pro Max. If I want like a smaller device but still the same performance or whatever, is the Pro.
Yep.
And then if I'm on a budget, I can get the 11
or SE.
Yeah. And it doesn't compromise on the essential experience. But this one is like, okay, if you want a cheaper one, we're gonna give you like a cheaper one, like get a plastic thing. And you know what? If you want 5G, we're gonna take an opportunity to charge you more
premium,
for 5G. That's counterintuitive. Because you want meaningful innovation. Why not you make 5G a built-in thing that doesn't cost more so that the adoption is faster?
Yeah, like look at competitors like, for example, Huawei, right? When they launched a P40 series, 5G across the board, there's no LTE, just make it standard across the board.
Yeah.
Don't cheapen up.
Yeah.
Could you imagine, like, if let's say this is Apple, right? Imagine like the non-Max version has a plastic back. Would you accept that?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, because Apple put out a stand, right? There are certain things that they will not compromise on. Build quality and the feel in the hand is very important because that's the first time you make an emotional, tactile connection with the phone. If you pick it up, even in the store, the feeling is the one thing that probably can influence you to purchase the device, other than the screen and the camera. That's the things that people will test. Okay, speaking of the screen, in all fairness, the Note 20 display is gorgeous.
The Ultra.
Yeah. But then the frustration is, why not across the board? I've mentioned this when Apple did it for their range. So they have a full HD LCD display for the 11.
Oh, it's not full HD. It's
720p.
Yeah.
For the 11, and then the Pro and Pro Max are on.
It's much higher than full HD.
OLED. I mean, okay, I'm not happy with that. They should make it across the range so that it's easier for people to choose. I feel like I'm disappointed because it feels like Samsung is taking a leaf from Apple and just making it worse. They could make it better if they try to attempt like they're listening to the buyers and maybe include a Snapdragon option across the board. So it's like, okay guys, we're giving you plastic back and maybe the screen is not better, but you know what, because you want Snapdragon so much, we're giving you Snapdragon instead of Exynos.
Yeah, exactly. Like, for example, when the Samsung announced the Galaxy Note 10 Lite, it's a cheaper version. I think it's like 2,200 ringgit, but it came with a Snapdragon 855 Plus, I think. People were happy about it. Yeah, I can get a flagship processor that's powered by Qualcomm at a reasonable price.
Yeah.
And people are happy about it.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we're almost out of time. Alex, your final takeaways. Okay, we've gone through the range, right? The price?
Yep.
Okay, let's just do it once again.
Okay, so again, the Note 20 series. So there's three models. The Note 20 LTE version comes with with 256 GB of storage. That's going for 3,899 ringgit. You want a 5G version, is 4,299 ringgit. And the top of the line model, which is the Note 20 Ultra 5G, is going for 5,199 ringgit. You can pre-order it starting yesterday, 6th of August, and it will be available officially in Malaysia on the 21st of August 2020.
Okay, so before you go into your takeaways, I want to ask you this question. For 5,000 ringgit, what other phones you can get?
You can get an iPhone 11 Pro,
For
or
what? For how much storage?
that's CC4.
Okay.
Yeah, that's CC4. Of course, Apple is Apple. But the closest thing to this would be the Galaxy S20 Ultra. So that retails for 4,999 ringgit, 4,999, and with 128 gig of storage. But now, if you go to Lazada or to a new online retailer, you can get it for 4,499 ringgit.
So if you had to choose, would you get the S20 Ultra or the Note 20 Ultra?
Personally, for me, I'm not really a huge S Pen user. I'll go for the S20 Ultra. Reason being because you get the same display, similar camera setup. I probably think that this camera is better, but I'm okay with the S20 Ultra camera. The S20 Ultra has a bigger battery, 5,000 mAh, and can support 45 watt fast charging as well. And it's 4,499. It's so much cheaper. It's like 600 ringgit cheaper.
Yeah.
Sorry, 700 ringgit cheaper.
Okay, I guess on that note, that's the conclusion for this show. Samsung launched the Note 20. It's a mixed bag for me. I'm actually really utterly disappointed by this. In terms of experience-wise, it won't take away a lot of the things that I treasure or I pay very particular attention to when it comes to Samsung. The functionality and Samsung Pay is a big deal. But here's the thing, you can get that on the other cheaper devices as well. And I agree with Alex, maybe the S20 Ultra is a better buy. It's cheaper because it's probably 6-8 months older, but it's the same specs and bigger battery and faster charging. So the Note 20 S20 Ultra supports 45 watt, while the Note 20 Ultra only 25 watts. Again, I want to put a disclaimer here. Yes, I did talk about specs and whether it's important or not. Yes, to a certain degree it's not. But right now it feels like Samsung could always do better, and they've always been doing better, but now it's like a compromise. Okay, so what do you guys think? You let me know. Let us know in the comments below. We're really happy to hear your suggestions and comments and feedback, and discuss with us. If you disagree, if you agree, if you think we miss a point, let us know. Enrich the content. So thank you for that. And before we go, I just want to remind everybody we're also available on podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, anywhere that you listen to podcasts, we are available. Just search for us, Soya Chin-Chow. Let's talk about. Give us a 5-star rating if you enjoy the show. That helps us a lot in moving the podcast thing that we're doing far. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And drop us a comment for any topics you would like us to talk about in the next show. Alright, this is Amin.
And this is Alex.
And thanks for watching, guys. See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.